It's no secret that being in law enforcement has always presented its challenges to those who choose to serve. Today's political climate and national conversation about policing are causing the profession to suffer one of its most significant crises in years. Locally, law enforcement is generally supported, and individuals often thank officers on the street for their help, support, and the job that they do. As a matter of fact, officers give out way more friendly waves per day in Oskaloosa than traffic citations. This was evident during our recent ride-alongs. Oskaloosa News had the opportunity this past week to ride along with 5 members of area law enforcement and talk to them about why they chose their career and how it's changed over time. For some officers, it's their first year of service, while others have served nearly a decade and more. How do you feel policing in a community that you grew up in?
It helps a lot because I grew up here, so I know quite a few people from the school. I worked at like the YMCA, met a lot of people there, so I have a lot of connections to the community. I know people that work here and work there, so if we have questions about, hey, do you guys have cameras? We're looking at a case, this and that, it really helps. And then like the flip side is I know quite a few people, so when it comes to if I have to arrest somebody, it might be somebody I went to school with, which has happened quite a bit. I've arrested quite a few from previous classmates, I guess.
Makes it awkward.
Yeah. Most of the time they're really excited when I arrest them, which is kind of bizarre. They just, I don't know.
So let's talk about that perception of law enforcement. Did that impact your decision or you and your wife's chat about, hey, maybe police officers aren't people's favorites anymore?
Yeah, my wife, she was a little hesitant, but she was okay with me being a reserve at the time. She did not want me to become a full-time deputy, and but when the position opened up and I applied for it, the list of all the other applicants, I was the least qualified, the most uncertified, most inexperienced person that applied, and yet I got offered the position. And talking about it with my wife, for us, it just definitely felt more of a calling rather than maybe something I want to do, but rather this is something that I need to do. Do we still have our reservations a little bit? Yeah. But like I said, this feels like more something that I need to do.
August. So it's Police Week, and we're just trying to help people understand police officers, and particularly those that live here in our neighborhoods. Tell me, why would you want to become a police officer?
Well, if you're someone that likes changes every day to day in your work environment and opportunities to help people, might be a decent career choice for you. Every day is different. Some days you can go out and do traffic, make contacts in that way, and some days you're swamped with a lot of paperwork and stuff. So it's exciting and a mix of desk time.
I'm going to say there's a fair share of boredom mixed with 30 seconds of terror sometimes.
That's right.
So, and you're a family man.
Yep.
And how does your job benefit and maybe cause strain in your family?
Well, my wife's not always thrilled with what I'm doing. She worries quite a bit, but it's also a lot of experience. So I can use that for the rest of my life, no matter what I'm doing. The experience I've learned here has been tremendous.
So for you, you've in 22 years you've responded to many different things, and I'm sure you carry some of those good and some bad. But for you, is there a moment, a call, and we of course we won't name names or what have you, but is there a call where you go, yeah, this is why I do what I do?
There's several calls over the years where you feel like you've really made a difference to somebody, and you can look back and realize that you did impact somebody's life. those are always great memories of the job. There's also the times you look back and you see the bad side of things, and I guess it kind of reinforces that want to help people. So it's kind of a good side, bad side of things. Lots of memories over the years from all the different calls, but the ones that really stick out are the ones where you've made a difference or helped somebody in a positive way.
So, I mean, over 7 years' time, I'm sure you've had several points where you go, hey, this is why I do the job.
Yeah.
Do you have one that stands out most to you?
I have this one. There's a guy that I arrested. I'm not gonna name any names or anything, and I still have contact with him today. Arrested him for some drugs. He was tied up in some pretty bad things, and he actually got clean, and he actually moved to a different town, and he's gotten married, and he has a couple kids with his wife, and
21 over mom.
And he actually reached out to me one day and told me that by me arresting him and doing what I did for doing my job has actually changed his life, and he feels like if I wouldn't have done my job, he feels like he could, not be here today because of the drugs that he was using, and he thinks that he would probably be dead if he didn't get his life straightened out, and he claims that it was all me that did it, and which I'm pretty proud of him for straightening his life out. But that's one of the things that really stands out for me. It makes me feel like I chose the right profession, though, just because you made a difference in someone's life. You might not make a difference in everybody's life that you deal with, but the one time that you do and you hear about it, it kind of makes you feel pretty good about yourself. It makes you feel like, hey, we're out here actually doing this job for a reason, not just out picking on people like some people think, though. We have a good group of guys that work with us, and I would encourage them to just be positive and be proactive when it comes to doing our job, and keep your guys, they need to keep their head up, because unfortunately sometimes this job is pretty challenging and it's stressful at times. Our job is probably one of the most stressful jobs, besides I think being a doctor. I think was like number one, I think is what they said. But our job is like one of the most stressful jobs that you can have, because we're literally making split-second decisions that could change someone's life, and it does change someone's life in split second.